Those are my people down there. So anybody out there that wants to do anything that we can help with the setup, the way America is set up to help the poor, the black people, the less well off as slow as possible. I mean, Red Cross is doing everything they can. We already realize a lot of the people that could help are at war right now, fighting another way, and they've given them permission to go down and shoot us.
And subtle, but in even many ways more profoundly devastating, is the lasting damage to the survivors' will to rebuild and remain in the area. The destruction of the spirit of the people of southern Louisiana and Mississippi may end up being the most tragic loss of all.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Had you heard so much criticism that in some ways you had become a little gun-shy?
No, not at all, because shortly thereafter I made a decision to send more troops into Iraq. I'm the kind of personality that the tougher it got, the more willing I was to make a tough call.
Let's get to the picture that we may have seen more of you in the last couple of years of your presidency than any other picture. You're sitting in Air Force One, you're flying back toward Washington, you fly right over New Orleans, and you look out the window.
Yes, it's a huge mistake.
And it made you look so out of touch.
Detached and uncaring, no question about it. And
whose fault was it?
It's always my fault. I should have touched down in Baton Rouge, met with the governor, walked out and said, I hear you. I mean, we know, we understand, and we're going to, help the state and help the local governments with as much resources as needed. And then got back on a float up to Washington. I did not do that and paid a price for it.
About a week after the storm hit, NBC aired a telethon.
Yes.
Asking for help for the victims of Katrina. We had celebrities coming in to ask for money, and I remember it vividly because I hosted it. And at one part of the evening, I introduced Kanye West. Were you watching?
Nope.
You remember what he said?
Yes, I do. Call me a racist.
Well, what he said was, George Bush doesn't care about black people.
That says he's a racist. And I didn't appreciate it then, and I don't appreciate it now. It's one thing to say, I don't appreciate the way he's handled his business. It's another thing to say this man's a racist. I resent it. It's not true. And it was one of the most disgusting moments of my presidency.
This from the book. I faced a lot of criticism as president. I didn't like hearing people claim that I lied about Iraq's weapons of mass destruction or cut taxes to benefit the rich. But the suggestion that I was racist because of the response to Katrina represented an all-time low.
Yeah, still feel that way as you read those words. Felt them when I heard them, felt them when I wrote them, and I felt them when I'm listening to them.
You say you told Laura at the time it was the worst moment of your presidency.
Yeah.
I wonder if some people are going to read that and they might give you some heat for that. And the reason is this.
I don't care.
Well, here's the reason. You're not saying that the worst moment in your presidency was watching the misery in Louisiana. You're saying it was when someone insulted you because of it.
And I also make it clear that the misery in Louisiana affected me deeply as well. There's a lot of tough moments in the book. I can see how the perception would be maybe Bush didn't care. Mm-hmm. But to accuse me of being a racist is disgusting. I mean, I feel strongly about it today, just like I felt strongly about it then. It's one thing to say he could have done a better job, he maybe should have put troops in. You don't call a man a racist I'm confident my heart is right on that issue.
And thinking about it after the fact, I would have chosen different words. Even in these times where I was considered to have done something so wrong, my motivation was from a good place. Maybe mistimed, maybe not the right wording, not using or realizing the power of my words and the way they would stop the internet. But nonetheless, that it's very pure and from a good place.
In the heat of the moment, it came out. Reflecting now, do you still believe George Bush doesn't care about black people?
I mean, I have a hard time believing that George Bush cares about anyone. So sidebar, black people also,
Question. Given the fact that we've seen more heinous crimes committed by juveniles, as in the case of the 5 Houston gang members who brutally killed those 2 women, are you in favor tonight to say that you would support lowering the capital punishment age for juveniles from 17?
Mr. Bush.
I would seriously consider a bill down to 14 years old. I don't think it would pass the Supreme Court test. I believe the age is 16, and I don't... 17. I don't think it'd pass the Supreme Court test.